Thorstein Veblen's Pecuniary Emulation, Understanding the Desire to Compete Through Wealth. Thorstein Veblen, an influential economist and sociologist, is best known for his critique of capitalism and the social behaviors associated with it. One of his most interesting and thought-provoking concepts is pecuniary emulation, which refers to the social practice of competing through wealth. In simple terms, pecuniary emulation is the idea that people often strive to show off their wealth and status by imitating the behaviors and lifestyles of those who are wealthier than them. This desire to emulate the wealthy can influence how individuals spend their money, the types of goods they buy, and even the way they live their lives. The concept of pecuniary emulation is important because it helps explain a lot about consumer behavior and the ways in which social status is constructed in society. Veblen believed that people are not only driven by the need to acquire things for themselves, but also by the desire to show off their wealth to others. This process of showing off wealth or attempting to live a lifestyle that reflects higher social status can have wide-ranging effects on individuals, communities, and society at large. At the heart of pecuniary emulation is the idea that status and social prestige are often tied to the accumulation of wealth. In many societies, people are judged based on their ability to consume goods and services that signal their economic success. This might include luxury items like expensive cars, large houses, or designer clothes. By displaying these goods, individuals send a message to others about their wealth and social standing. The more one can spend, the more one is often respected or admired by others. Veblen argued that this competition for status through wealth is not always rational. Instead of focusing on using money to improve one's own well-being or to meet real needs, people often engage in wasteful or extravagant consumption just to keep up with others or to appear wealthier than they really are. This behavior, according to Veblen, is driven by what he called the leisure class, a group of people who have the time and resources to engage in conspicuous consumption, a related concept that he explored extensively. Conspicuous consumption refers to the act of buying and displaying expensive goods not for practical use, but to signal wealth and social status. Pecuniary emulation takes this a step further by focusing on the social pressure to keep up with those who are perceived as more wealthy or successful. In this sense, people often spend beyond their means just to emulate those they consider to be in a higher social class. This can lead to individuals accumulating debt, living beyond their financial means, or making purchasing decisions based on social competition rather than practical needs. The concept of pecuniary emulation is rooted in Veblen's broader critique of capitalist society. He believed that modern capitalism encourages these kinds of behaviors because it rewards those who display wealth and success. In many cases, businesses and advertisers play on this desire for social status by creating products and messages that make people feel as though they need to buy certain things in order to be part of the social elite. By tapping into the desire to emulate those who are wealthier, companies can drive consumer spending and create markets for luxury goods. Veblen argued that pecuniary emulation was a form of social waste. When people consume for the sole purpose of showing off their wealth, they are often engaging in behavior that does not contribute to their happiness or well-being. Instead of spending money on goods and services that improve their lives or society, they are simply trying to project an image of wealth and success. This can have negative consequences, both on an individual level, such as financial stress or debt, and on a societal level, such as increased inequality and environmental degradation. In some ways, Veblen's concept of pecuniary emulation also sheds light on the psychological aspects of wealth and social competition. The desire to keep up with the Joneses, a phrase that refers to the tendency to match the lifestyle and consumption patterns of one's neighbors or peers, is a real and powerful force. People are not only motivated by the things that wealth can buy, but by the desire to be seen as successful in the eyes of others. This social comparison is so ingrained in society that it can influence everything, from the types of cars people drive to the size of their homes to the brands they wear. Veblen's analysis of pecuniary emulation also ties into his broader critique of social class. He argued that the pursuit of wealth for the sake of social status leads to the creation of a class system, where individuals are valued not for their abilities, talents, or contributions to society, but for the amount of money they can spend or the image of wealth they can project. This creates a deep divide between the rich and the poor, as those with more resources are able to outcompete others in the race for status. The result is that wealth becomes a measure of a person's worth, reinforcing inequality and limiting social mobility. It is also important to note that Veblen was not entirely against the accumulation of wealth or technological progress. He recognized that wealth could be used for constructive purposes, such as funding innovations or improving living standards. However, he believed that the tendency to engage in pecuniary emulation often distorts this potential. Instead of using wealth to enhance one's life or contribute to society, individuals often pursue it for purely superficial reasons, a pattern that has become more pronounced in contemporary consumer societies. In the modern world, the effects of pecuniary emulation are still evident. Social media platforms, for example, often encourage individuals to present their lives in a way that reflects wealth and success. People regularly post pictures of luxurious vacations, expensive items, or their latest purchases as a way of showing off their lifestyle. This creates a social pressure to maintain a certain image, leading to further consumption driven by status competition rather than personal need. Veblen's concept of pecuniary emulation also helps explain how social trends and fads can quickly take hold. When certain behaviors or products are associated with wealth or social prestige, they become desirable to a wider audience. The desire to emulate the elite can lead people to buy things they do not need or can barely afford, all in the name of fitting in or improving their social standing. So, what can we do about this? Veblen's work challenges us to rethink the ways in which we measure success and value in society. Rather than viewing wealth as the ultimate symbol of success, Veblen encourages us to focus on more meaningful contributions to society, such as creativity, intelligence, and compassion. In the modern world, where the pressures of pecuniary emulation continue to affect how we live and consume, it may be helpful to reflect on how we can use our resources to improve not only our own lives but also the lives of others. If you found this explanation of Thorstein Veblen's concept of pecuniary emulation insightful, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into fascinating sociological and economic ideas. Your support helps us bring more content like this to you. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments section. How do you see pecuniary emulation playing out in today's world? We would love to hear from you. Thank you for